In this incident, we have a quiet neighbor who was arrested for quadruple murder of a mother and her kids.
Tonight, an arrest has been made in last week's gruesome quadruple homicide in Wilmer. 54-year-old William Graham Oliver, seen here during his transfer to Metro Jail, is charged with 8 counts of capital murder in connection with the killing of 46-year-old Lisa Fields, 17-year-old Keziah Lucker, who was pregnant, by the way, and 12-year-old Thomas Cordell Jr. Now, the arrest comes after sheriff's deputies executed a search warrant at Oliver's home in Wilmer earlier today.
The Mobile County Sheriff's
It's at 54. Man, looks 75 to me.
Office arrested 54-year-old William Graham Oliver last Monday. The bodies of 46-year-old Lisa Fields, 17-year-old Keziah Lucker, who was pregnant, and 12-year-old Thomas Cordell Jr. were discovered in their home on Abel Moody Road. NBC 15 was there today as the murder suspect was taken in handcuffs to Metro Jail just 30 minutes ago. NBC 15's Darwin Singleton joins us now live from the sheriff's office with the very latest. And Darwin, you just spoke with the sheriff. Is he saying what led them to William Graham Oliver?
Well, he said it was just good detective work, and we're going to hear from him in just a moment about that. But when we got here today, a large group of media out, of course, us among them, to see this man being brought from the sheriff's office right here. We're going to show you video of that perp walk. And during the perp walk, reporters asked him repeatedly about the crime. And of course, he is alleged to have committed that crime. He is accused of the crime, but he was asked about how something like this could have happened. And it was a very violent crime. He kept his head down low. He never said a word to anybody, even though he was asked directly if he was responsible for these murders. He did not say anything at all, but we do know he is now facing 8 counts of capital murder. Now, there were 4 victims, 3 people and 1 unborn child that were killed in this crime spree. There's, of course, with the capital case, there's associated crimes that have to be committed with the murder to make it a capital case, and those all added up to 8 counts, according to the sheriff. We did talk to the sheriff about how this arrest came about, and he said it's just plain good detective work. Listen to it.
Bottom line is good old-fashioned police work, knocking on doors, doing a lot of interviews, collecting footage in different places, and just was able to put together a real tight timeline that pointed us to that direction. He was at the home, 7:30-ish Sunday night, the 19th, and like I said, very, very tight timeline, very solid circumstantial evidence at this point, and we feel confident that we have the right man and charged appropriately.
Now, Andrea, you were out in West Mobile, actually just west of Wilmer, West Mobile County, earlier today, and I was out there too at the scene of where some evidence was picked up by the sheriff's office. They were looking at a house in West Mobile today where he lives, along with, I'm told by a neighbor, his wife and 2 children. If this neighbor is correct, he has 2 children of his own. The neighbor very concerned about the possibility that this was their guy. Says he knows him pretty well, has been living next to him for about 5 or 6 years. We're going to be talking to him tonight at 6 and 10. We'll have that interview for you. But right now, police and sheriff's deputies believe they have their man. The sheriff saying that William Oliver is now arrested, charged with 8 counts of capital murder in this very brutal case. Andrea?
And Darwin, did the sheriff touch on a motive in this case? What would have prompted this violence?
Well, we threw several things at him. I asked him if it was a drug-related offense, and he says, we are not going to release any of that information right now. That's part of the investigation. So they're being very tight-lipped about why this happened and why it had to be so brutal. I mean, no murder is good, of course, but this one was particularly bad, and it's had the whole community shocked. But he says the neighborhood is safe tonight. They have their man.
The Mobile County Sheriff's Office searched his home in Wilmer in connection to the quadruple murder. Now, this is exclusive video you will only see on NBC 15 News. Investigators were at this home on Albert Evans Road for at least 2 hours today. I was there on scene just before 3 o'clock. Investigators came out with 6 bags of evidence, and just a short time after that, they announced the arrest. A woman and 2 boys who had been held outside were allowed to go back into the home just before 3 o'clock. She declined to talk to us, and we're hearing late this afternoon from the Mobile County District Attorney's Office that he will not be making an appearance, his initial appearance in court tomorrow, and that will likely happen on Friday.
Now, I wonder what the whole incident was about. Why did he kill them? Hopefully they get into it. Let's keep going.
Investigators were called to this mobile home around 2 in the morning and found a gruesome scene. 3 victims were found in separate rooms, their hands bound behind their backs with zip ties.
It tells me that they had a plan coming in to bring zip ties.
Mobile County Sheriff Paul Birch identified the victims as 46-year-old Lisa Ferguson, who may have also gone by Lisa Fields, 17-year-old Keziah Lucker, who was pregnant, and 12-year-old Thomas Cordell.
The 12-year-old was almost decapitated, and so it was a brutal scene.
Birch says Lisa's throat was slashed and Keziah was shot in the head. Keziah's 18-month-old daughter was also found unharmed in the home. Birch says there were no signs of forced entry and believes more than one person could be responsible.
I mean, I guess it's a little good that he didn't touch the 18-month-old baby, but he nearly decapitated the 12-year-old?
It'd be hard for one individual to control 3 people at one time. I can tell you the house was gone through and left in disarray, and so someone was searching for something.
Birch says the case was first triggered by the 18-month-old's father, who was working offshore and became alarmed when he could not reach Keziah.
When he saw her phone activated in the middle of the night, because they have that Life 360, and so we thought maybe something was wrong with the pregnancy.
The sheriff's office is working very diligently to investigate this. When a suspect is identified, we are ready to charge. There's, in the presence of a child, there's 2 or more. There are any number of ways that this could go, depending on how this investigation pans out.
The bodies of 46-year-old Lisa Fields, 17-year-old Keziah Lucker, who was pregnant, and 12-year-old Thomas Cordell Jr. were discovered inside this mobile home on Abel Moody Road around 2 a.m. Monday. Keziah's 18-month-old daughter was also inside the home but was not hurt. Lisa's husband, Nathan Fields, posted this heartbreaking message on social media, saying he is, quote, crushed, lost, and destroyed, and doesn't know how he will go on.
Sad. It's too close to home.
This neighbor, who asked not to be identified, says she's shocked but not fearful, as investigators believe this was a targeted attack. Sheriff Paul Birch says there were no signs of forced entry and the home was left in disarray, as if someone was searching for something. Birch revealed Lisa and Thomas's throats were slashed and Keziah was shot in the head.
I kind of felt heavy about it yesterday because God let me know that I'm not praying enough for my neighborhood.
Yeah, targeted. So when they mentioned that it was not a forced entry, that just makes you think that they knew the suspect. They let him in. But I can't imagine what the father is going through. He was out on he was making money for his family out on an oil rig. And then you just find out that your family's dead. The whole people you're out there doing that for. Well, at least he has his daughter still left, I'm assuming. But he lost one child who was in her belly and the mother of his child. Absolutely crazy.
And it just kind of made me sad for the children,
A family member tells NBC 15 News Lisa was known for helping others, often taking in friends of her children who needed a place to stay. A GoFundMe has been created to help the oldest brother, Damien, pay for the funerals of his mother, brother, and sister. Birch vows to bring the killer or killers to justice.
The brutality of the murders has sent shockwaves far beyond the small community of Wilmer. Tonight, my conversation with someone who knows the suspect well, or so he thought. He says he lived next door to Oliver for more than 6 years.
How do you know this family?
It was a stunning development in a case that sent shockwaves through the community. 54-year-old William Oliver, a resident of rural West Mobile County, arrested near his home in Wilmer after being pulled over by deputies. At the same time, sheriff's deputies and SWAT descended upon his house, searching for evidence in a quadruple murder so savage and brutal it's almost beyond comprehension, especially for someone like Mark Coleman, who lives right next door to Oliver.
Well, the SWAT came in, guns and all of that, and the SWAT vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm thinking, what did these? No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No way. And then I certainly wasn't even thinking about the murders at that point. I'm thinking something else, you
Yeah.
know. And that was the farthest thing from my mind.
He was thinking it was getting like a drug raid, something like that.
But today, Coleman was forced to face this possibility that his neighbor, who he described as a handyman and dedicated father of 3 boys, broke into a home, zip-tied the hands of a pregnant teen, her mother and younger brother, and then killed them all. The pregnant mom shot in the head, her mother and brother found with their throats slashed. What is it about him that surprises you that he would even be mixed up in something like this?
Because he's a quiet, unassuming man. He spends a great deal of time with his kids, has 3 boys, and him and his wife get along well, and his mother lives with him as well. And just a nice, unassuming guy.
Well, you know, unless you live with someone for a long time, you never know what they're capable of doing or what their motivations are. And, you know, it is a shocking crime for anyone, especially if it's someone you know.
Shortly after Oliver was booked into Metro Jail, Mobile County Sheriff Paul Burge offered limited details about the arrest. Yes, Oliver is the sole suspect, he said, and yes, he knew the victims. And while NBC 15 News watched as detectives removed at least 6 bags of evidence from Oliver's house this morning, Birch was hesitant to speculate what went down at the scene of the crime, which was 11 miles away from where Oliver lives.
Well, you know, there's no one alive to tell us that. So, you know, we have, you know, what we believe to be, you know, his reason for being there, and that'll be something for the district attorney's office to get into.
There was one survivor, the pregnant teen's 18-month-old daughter, far too young to speak of such a despicable crime, and thankfully so, for it would be a tale no parent would ever want their child to comprehend.
That's the only saving grace, is that she won't remember anything like this. Wow.
This one seemed to affect you personally.
Well, anytime there are children involved, it makes it a little tougher, and you know, and especially an unborn child. So yeah. But again, he will, you know, he'll face justice, but he'll ultimately face the ultimate justice on Judgment Day.
Though there were only 4 victims in this crime, including that unborn child, William Oliver faces 8 counts of capital murder because of other crimes that occurred in connection with those murders, including burglary and the death of a child less than 14 years old.
Jail records show Oliver has been booked 12 times in Mobile County Metro Jail since 1990. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison in 1991 for a stolen truck and a string of burglaries at service shops, serving just under 4 years. He later faced a DUI charge in 1996. In 2007, a woman accused him of domestic violence and filed for a protection from abuse order. Both were dismissed. 13 years later, he was charged with first-degree theft for stealing appliances from the Marigold apartment complex and served nearly a year after pleading to a lesser charge. Now, Oliver faces the most serious charges yet, 8 counts of capital murder.
So he's just basically a career thief. So they made a question saying that how could he subdue all those people? I mean, you got a gun. A lot of people do what they tell you to do, especially if they got kids. They're gonna do what you tell them to do. But the real question is, does he have accomplices? He could have done it alone, but was he working with somebody?
Do you want to go into their house in the middle of the night and do such a thing?
No comment. I'm not saying anything.
Is there anything you want to say before you get thrown up? Now is your chance. William Oliver, how did you know Lisa Fields and why did you do this to her family? William Oliver, do you think that you are being wrongfully arrested right now?
54 years old now, looking 75. That's a crazy case. Let's get over into the AI breakdown just to see what else we can find out. But the father has to be going through it. So as we know, William, 54-year-old, was arrested for a quadruple murder for the family in Alabama. Neighbors described him as a quiet, unassuming man and was a nice guy who was a devoted father and handyman. He was arrested on April 28th roughly a week after the bodies were discovered. As we know, the victims got 46, 17, 12, and then the unborn child. The victims were found in separate rooms of their home with bound by zip ties or flex cuffs, and the 18-month-old girl was found alive and unharmed in the house. He faces 8 counts of capital murder. These include charges for killing 2 or more persons, murder during a burglary, murder of a child under 14, and murder in the presence of a child. While authorities have not officially released a motive, the victim's family alleged that Oliver, a family acquaintance, owed Lisa Fields money and may have been searching for something in the home. Wow. So we know that the victims were found after her boyfriend made a welfare call from an offshore oil rig. They were found with severe lacerations. Prosecutors stated that they were nearly decapitated. That's the 12 and the 46-year-old, the mother, by an unknown sharp object, and then he just shot the mother, the 17-year-old, in the head. He was not a stranger. He visited the home almost every day and was a trusted friend of the family for years. While an official motive have not been fully confirmed, court records suggest that he entered the home with the intent to rob the family. Investigators stated that the house appeared to have been rummaged through. Oliver himself allegedly admitted to being inside the home looking for something. On May 1st, 2026, a judge denied bond, citing his criminal history dating back to 1990s and the brutal nature of the crime. Yeah, 100%. If they would have gave him bond, I would have been very disappointed. He has pleaded not guilty to all 8 capital counts. District Attorney Blackwood has confirmed that his office will seek the death penalty, stating the facts of the case cry it out. Yeah, 100%. He's scheduled to return to court on May 21st, where further evidence is expected to be presented. Wow. Yeah. Capital, give him the death penalty. That sounds like a death penalty type thing, but the real question is, was he working alone? Which most likely he was. And all this, he was a family friend, y'all. He was known to the family. Come over there every day. But he snapped one day, or was he always plotting it? And did he think he would get away with it? No matter how it is, it's a tragic situation. Got to pray for the family, the 18-month-old, and the father, who's definitely going through some craziness right now. I don't know how I would handle it. But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy case, and we have to keep up with it. We'll see exactly what he goes through, how he's going to plead, evidence he's going to bring to say that he's not guilty of the crime, or how are they going to spin it.